And welcome back to another edition of the Podman. That's Podman Ron yawning. Podman Ron.
Sorry. Late.
All right. Well, this is Brad.
This is Brian.
Podman Ron.
All right, Podman Ron, you are with us. You did get your coffee already, right?
I'm ready to go.
All right, you're ready
to go.
All right, get that yawn out of the way because we've got a very special episode tonight.
Really?
We have no rundown really, other tn two celebrity deaths, and that's kind of it for the most part.
What
we have a few news stories.
All right, Scoop over here is trying to dig up some news stories, but I don't know if you're going to have a whole lot. We don't have any Boba Fett. We don't have any Peacemaker. Well, I guess.
I think I hit you guys up earlier today and was like, "What are we talking about tonight?"
Yeah, nothing.
Just shooting the shit.
Just shooting the shit.
So we're it's a shoot the shit episode.
This is as if we had somebody that was just hanging out at the comic book store who just walks in, and we're in the middle of a conversation. That's what it's going to be like.
Speaking of which, guys, you know what? We really need, to promote this show with our old customer base at the comic shop.
Are there any?
The Michael.
Are there any that are alive and not incarcerated? Or
I mean, there was a run of bad luck of the ones that died.
Yeah, we had a little bad streak there.
Yeah, there was a bad streak of
right.
those. But there's still. I'm going to assume the Dave are out there, the Michael is out there, the who are some of the other ones that we had? John is out there.
Should we be giving last names?
Maybe not. Brad bleep those last names.
I'm not bleeping any names out.
Should I give the dead ones?
Can you give their social security numbers while you're at it?
Oh, jeez.
Well,
anyway,
we really need to hit these people up and say, "Hey, remember back in the day when we sold you?"
Remember when you used to like us?
Again, yes.
We're back.
30 some odd years ago. Remember 30 some odd years ago when you used to come into a comic book shop? You still really like that stuff, right? You want to go to MegaCon?
Like that. I prefer to hear 50-year-old people talk about comics.
Hey, leave me out of that.
I didn't think so.
Nearly 50.
Nearly. I would prefer to bring back our Rogues Gallery. You had G.I. Jerk. You had G.I. Jerk. You had the Duke Boys.
John McEnroe.
The Duke Boys.
John McEnroe.
Do you remember that Kevin guy who just showed up at my house that time when we were all out swimming? That was weird.
Yeah. Redheaded Kevin. Who else did we have? What are some of the other...
we have Ponytail Mike, R.I.P.
Oh.
PTM. Yeah, wow.
PTM.
Now
the funny thing with Ponytail Mike was,
with what, the severe depression?
No. So Ponytail Mike, and speaking of one of our other friends of the Podman, Ponytail Mike, he had the ponytail for years and years and years. And a friend of ours started working at Wizards of the Coast, had a store in the mall called Gamekeeper. So Wizards of the Coast, people do Magic the Gathering and Pokemon back in the day. They opened a store in the mall called Gamekeeper, and a friend of mine went to go work there. And I went up there one day, was in the area and popped in, and he goes, "Hey, Ponytail Mike." And I'm like,
"What?"
Now, we had called him Ponytail Mike, right? But nobody at this other store, I was like, what are the odds they came up with the exact same, nickname, right? And so he's like, no, everybody calls me Ponytail Mike. So we gave him that nickname.
And that's what he told He introduced himself as that, probably.
He ran with the nickname.
That was his preferred nickname from then on. Wow. And then, I was just... Ponytail Mike, he would come in and he'd want to play Star Wars, and I would always change the deck. So, I would play a deck one way, and I knew he was coming in, the next week, so I would change my deck around, and he would always play the deck I played the week before. So I would play – he would copycat my deck, but I would completely change my format. And then I'd beat him again the next week. So it's I knew exactly what he was going to play week to week, so I would just counter what I was going to play.
Oh, sweet memories.
So,
now do you feel bad about that?
No, we had a good time.
Knowing how it all turned out.
There was when I talked him into cutting off his ponytail.
You know what? We need to really. I guess we need to bleep a lot of this out because
we're not bleeping it.
We seem really asshole-ish, to be honest with you.
Should we just start over?
No, I like Mike. Like it's just funny. Like
I mean, I feel bad.
No, we all liked him.
yeah, what we like.
He's cool.
Mike passed away. Like, we'll go ahead and say that. But there was the time when we talked. I think we talked him out of his ponytail. Wow. We were like, "Hey, do you think the ponytail's a crutch? Do you think
No.
That's all people know you for is the ponytail."
Oh my God.
And then, like a week later, he cut the ponytail off.
He lost his identity after that.
And then 2 weeks later, he was gone.
No, don't say that. That's not true.
The second of the comic book Mikes who passed on.
God.
Let's not even talk about the other one.
This episode may be unairable.
Alex was smart to skip this
All
episode.
those earlier shout-outs, nobody's listening.
Like this one may go in the vault.
This will get mysteriously lost.
This is not to be played until all of our deaths.
This is the Podmen After Dark.
Yeah, this is After Dark. This is the dark web Podman. Hey, how about that Boba Fett? Let's change subjects.
How about that Boba Fett?
Hey, you know what? Speaking of Peacemaker, though, James Gunn locked it down.
He did lock it down.
He locked down
Hardcore.
Hardcore. They're engaged. Well, they're engaged.
Yeah, it won't
Well,
last.
good for him,
but
man.
Good for him.
I don't blame him. Yeah, he needs to lock that down.
He totally needs to lock it. And she needs to lock it down to make sure she lives through season 2, I would imagine.
You know what?
That was dicey in that final episode.
There was a lot of people that gave her shit that, you just because you're sleeping with the director, blah, 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 that's why you got the part. And maybe that's true, but she did an awesome job. I thought she was fantastic in the role. So, you know what? Whatever works. But I thought she was like really good in that role, like one of the better parts of that show. So, screw it. So, good for him. Good for James Gunn and good for that chick.
Whatever her name is. Yeah, good for her.
Whatever the name is.
Hardcore.
Hard, whatever.
Yes. What else is going on in the comic book world? Not a whole lot, really.
Not a whole lot comic book wise. There, we had a little bit of news, and we kind of noticed this a few weeks ago. It was interesting to see it, kind of pop up in the news this week. But we keep getting, we got trailers for the new Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore movie. And we noticed then that the female lead, what's her name, was suspiciously absent from the Catherine Watterson. It was suspiciously missing from the trailer, and now they've released all these posters, these movie posters, and they released 18 character movie posters.
Yeah.
For what?
So they're
Fantastic Beasts?
for Fantastic Beasts, 18 different character photo posters. And she doesn't have one. Wow. She's the female lead of the series.
Oh, is that the one that did something really stupid?
I think it was, she spoke out against J.K. Rowling. And so now the theory is J.K. Rowling's blackballing her. So, don't be surprised if she gets killed in this movie. Wow. But it's interesting that, now,
what's going on there? There you go.
We lost.
What do you mean?
Your camera wandered away.
Your camera
did it?
wandering. What do you got? A robot camera over there or something?
Yeah. Well, it's my iPad. The iPad tracks you.
He has the fancy iPad.
You're a fan.
Yeah.
Man,
over here.
Yeah.
Right over here.
Use my fucking hand to do that.
Yeah, nothing but the best for Brian.
Like a loser.
The tracking fucking iPad.
I didn't get it because it does that. It's just a happy coincidence that my new iPad.
I just happened to need a new one right when they came out.
That's all. That's all. So
here, watch what mine does. Look.
We can't
you won't even turn
you.
your camera on.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know it wasn't on. What the fuck?
Well, normally we get a view of inside your ear, so that's cool.
Like an old man.
No.
Looks like a spider's crawling out of it.
So
anyway.
when is Fantastic Beasts? I'm not really looking forward to Fantastic Beasts.
I don't think
that whole trilogy sucks to me.
I think it's coming out in May. It's not that long. It's not a Christmas release.
Now, Brian, because I have the span of a 2-year-old attention span, I think I skimmed over something where there's talk of doing a Order of the Phoenix. Like they're in talks of bringing that to live action of the Harry Potter's dad and the Order of the Phoenix.
I mean, that would be more interesting than Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, I think so too. But have you heard anything, or did I dream that, or
I haven't heard that.
Dream about that?
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but it's in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot better than this Fantastic Beasts stuff. But whatever.
I mean, I guess you would see how they beat. Because do we know how they beat Voldemort the first time? Well,
no, I don't think we.
Well, it's you know how where he cast a spell and it bounced back on him. Right. When he tried to kill Harry. But how did they beat him the first? Well, I guess they're telling us that in Fantastic Beasts. No, they're not.
No, he's not. I guess that's how he beat Voldemort. I think when Voldemort tried to kill Harry, I think he accidentally killed himself.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot of time between Tom Riddle that we see in Chamber of Secrets and Tom Riddle that kills Harry's parents. I mean, it's like 30 years between those two stories.
Years. Yeah.
So it's like, well, what the hell happened in between them? So, I mean, was he just running roughshod the whole 30 years? I don't think so. Right? So, how did he come to power? And were there losses he took along the way, or was he marginalized along the way? Maybe that's a more interesting story to tell, than this Newt Scamander crap.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot more interesting to see that than what we've been seeing.
Well, I think it would be more interesting to just put it to bed.
Yeah, just not even have any. They don't need anything else.
Or go in and do it current, make it current. Make it their kids. There's some new threat. Whatever. I mean, how do you? How is magic special in a world where everyone has iPhones?
Right.
Like that type of thing. Where technology's actually as powerful as magic would be anyway.
Right.
So.
Well, for the most part, but I never understood. Okay, you're magical. Well, why can't you use cell phones and be magical at the same time? Yeah. But here's another thought. Harry Potter really takes place in the 90s. So you wouldn't have some of the technology that we have today, because I think it took place in, I think the first movie is 92. And
but you make it now. Harry's in his late 30s. His kids are in, I mean, what they did with the Cursed Child, but expand upon that so it's not just a retelling of or the exact same crap that happened to Harry. Flip it where it's there's a little more real world and it's more current. So, or just
or just let it go. Let it go. I never got into Harry Potter as much as Podman Ron may have tried to get me into it. I waited in line with you to get a book. No,
you did wait in line. Back in the days where, people looked at me strange, I had to bring Brad with me so they wouldn't call the cops on me.
Yeah, we looked like a normal middle-aged gay couple waiting for the Harry Potter book. I mean, it's cool. It's cool.
No problem.
In our pajam jams. Yeah.
Why's that man buying the Harry Potter book? Oh, he's gay.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
I mean, is that what we're?
I was like, okay, well, at least I'd rather look gay than be a child molester. I mean,
oh my God, this truly is.
If I had to choose one.
mean it like that.
Of course you didn't. Of course not. Oh,
No,
God.
this is never going to make air. This will get us. This will get us all fired.
It's too late to start over again now. We're 16 minutes in.
I
Let me
mean
ask you this,
that
though.
like
Let me
that.
ask you this. Is anybody excited about the Batman movie? I mean, I want it to do fine.
I really am not. I mean, I'm not excited. I mean, I'm looking forward to it more than I was, but like exciting? No, not.
I
not.
seriously may wait for it to drop on Max before I see it. I have
No,
no
I'm
interest.
excited.
I have no interest in it.
It does nothing because it's. I argued with Alex the other night about this. It's like it does nothing for me because we're back to basically another origin story. I mean, I know it's year 2, but it's still Batman in the beginning. It's not in a universe where you're going to have any of the other characters in it.
Right.
So it's going to be maybe a trilogy, and then it's going to be a new Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you can't build on the character anymore. You're just telling a clip it in this universe's Batman. So,
Which is
I mean,
fine.
how many times are we going to see this?
Uninterested. Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, I like, Robert Patterson or whatever the fuck his name is. I like him, but I don't know. It's just
Okay. I didn't know if it was just me.
No, I would like to see Ben Affleck.
I would have loved to see Ben Affleck, but everybody got upset.
No thanks. I would have liked to have seen Batman Beyond.
Ugh, you with the Batman Beyond again.
I mean, I don't mind Batman Beyond, but I'd like a Batman movie that establishes in a DC universe and that continues to build on itself instead of restarting it every 2 or 3 years. I'd rather just.
Well, see, that's kind of the problem that we've established with Marvel, right? I mean, at some point, Marvel's going to have to reboot because they've killed all of their A-list villains. Well, it's the same thing as with Nolan. Like, you killed Joker, Joker died in real life, but you killed Ra's al Ghul, you killed, Bane, you killed. So it's like, what the hell do? You don't have a rogues gallery when you kill them at the end of every movie. So, which is really weird because it's Batman. Like if anybody's villains that should continue on, it's his.
Right.
But you back yourselves into the corner because Hollywood kills the bad guy at the end of the movie. They all
gotta kill him.
They all give him the Hans Gruber treatment, And so then you're left with, okay, well, now we got to start the trilogy over because we killed everybody that anyone cares about. So.
All right. Well, maybe, I'm sure it will be good. I'm sure Robert Pattinson, whatever his name is fine. But, I'm just not as excited as I wish I was.
I mean, I'll go out and say I'm excited for it. Like, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a good movie. I like the fact that they said that it's an origin story for the villains. Yeah. Right. I think that's a cool idea. And I think we're going to end up getting a true rogues gallery out of it. I think by the end of it, Penguin is the Penguin we know. Catwoman is donning the suit. I think we're getting Joker. Right. I will probably get introduced to Harvey Dent in this somewhere. So. They are restocking the villains, and if they don't make the same mistake as before, then now you can continue to have that rogues gallery going forward. So, yeah, I am. I'll go on the record and say I am excited.
All right.
So.
All right. Well, there's one of us.
There's one. I'm sure. Again, I'll go on record saying I'm sure it'll be a fine movie. I just am not. I don't need to see it day one type stuff.
What about day 2? Brian?
Maybe day 2 at 9 a.m. or something. Maybe.
Yeah. There we go. Come on, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on,
what
man.
other movies are coming out that are of any interest whatsoever? I mean, there's really nothing.
I mean, we talked about all the trailers, but Doctor Strange and all.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying about all the maybe kind of some that are interesting that are not blockbusters.
Yes, not comic book.
Well, movies. We just had Poirot movie, Death on the Nile, and it, flopped.
Of course. Who wants to go see
Who
that?
wants to see that stupid franchise?
I mean, no, yeah, honestly, who wants to go to a movie theater and see that shit when they can? That's a TV. That's something you watch on TV.
It's a TV show, Brian. What's wrong with you?
I'm just saying, like, there was a time.
I think honestly, though, and I don't know if movie producers get this, but like, I think the time of watching movies like that at a theater is just kind of, no one's going to go do it unless it's a huge blockbuster,
now,
like a Marvel movie or a Star Wars.
But when you say a movie like that, what is this movie you speak of? This genre, like
just
murder mysteries,
like
drama,
like a romantic comedy or a murder mystery or something like that. Something like that where you can just basically see it on TV. I mean, it doesn't need to be on a big screen to see. Whereas, a really good action movie like a Fast and the Furious, it's more fun to watch. A popcorn movie is more fun to watch in a theater, than, a romantic movie or a rom-com or anything like that. I mean, I feel like that.
I disagree. There's movies that you.
When's the last time you went and saw a rom-com in the theater?
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, exactly.
That was that Rebel Wilson movie.
Jesus Christ.
That movie that you and I...
Jesus Christ.
That movie that you and I went to see, Brian?
Movie?
Oh, yeah.
What was that? Not She's the One.
Oh, my God.
But it was something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that. It was Jason Lee.
David Schwimmer.
And, I think so, yeah.
What was this?
Brian and I went. We've talked about it on the podcast before, as he's looking it up. Brian and I one night decided to go see a rom-com together. So I'm not really sure.
Was that or just start fucking outright?
I'm not sure what the constant is in these equations that we have here, but I'm starting to think it's me. I can't get a reach around from either one of you fellas.
Although, do you know the name of the movie, Brad?
It's something so obvious now. What was it?
Kissing a Fool.
What the fuck?
Why? We were so in love in a very straight way.
God.
We were so in love with Jason Lee that we were completely blindsided that we were going to go see a rom-com together.
Conversation went when y'all were trying to decide on what movie to go see, and y'all went and said,
"Yeah, it's got Jason Lee
kissing a fool with Jason Lee."
He killed it in Mallrats. He was funny as shit.
Jesus Christ!
I know. That's what did it, though.
I
right?
think, in fairness, we went for something else. We went for it. We tried to go see something. You don't think so?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, it's too late.
You can remember it, misremember it all you want. This podcast is that fucking record, okay? Even now, 30 years later, he's denying me for some reason.
Hey, and speaking of Jason Lee, I am looking forward to Clerks 3.
Oh, okay.
Throwing it out there. I am that. I do like Kevin Smith movies.
You didn't always, though, did you? I mean, I know you kind of
see them back in the day. Back in the day, that was a store event. We would all go see those terrible Kevin Smith movies, and I think I'd fall asleep in half of them. I mean, I fell asleep during what was the religious one?
Dogma.
I fell the fuck asleep in that. I had no idea what was going on.
In truth, in the late '90s, let's go ahead and give some context. In the late '90s, when PMR was pushing, mid-30s, and had not started.
Well, I wasn't mid-30s in the late '90s. I was like 25. Okay, go ahead.
I guess so, maybe. Well,
the late '90s.
Let's go ahead. Continue on.
Well, the guy doesn't want us to do the math.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
he was mid-30s in the late '90s. All right, but at this point, PMR had not begun drinking coffee.
Yeah.
No, I was not drinking coffee.
He wouldn't drink coffee. And so he would always want to go to like the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock movie because it was after the shop closed. And he'd be out in the first 20 minutes. Yeah. There would be times he would be laying on my shoulder.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
I have to nudge him over.
Right.
I would have no idea the movie we just watched.
Whisper in his ear, the movie's over.
The best was, I think it was one of the re-releases of Star Wars, and I sat next to PMR, and his wife was next to him, and she put her head like in his lap, and he fell asleep on top of her. It was
they crumbled on top of each other from boredom.
I was like, is there a gas leak in this theater? They were both, and he's snoring. It was just a pile of humanity.
Attack of the Clones, that whole scene where C-3PO gets his, goes through that
the
droid factory.
Droid factory, I slept all through that. So when I saw that again, I was like, when did this happen?
George Lucas, you added that whole scene in.
Was this edited back in for the DVD?
Oh,
no.
Good time.
Is this a special edition?
Yeah. Yeah, those are good days. Good days.
So rom-coms are dead.
Rom-coms are dead, man. No, what I was going to say was, there's movies that, you get like the art house films that it's like, I don't know who actually went to go see those in theaters anyway.
I went and saw Sundown 2 weeks ago. It was an art house film.
Well, there you go.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry.
So,
you don't want to see the Batman, but you'll go see, what is it, Sundown?
I mean, it was something I haven't seen before. Batman, like you said, I've probably seen it before.
What's
I'm bored
Sundown
with it.
about? What's Sundown about?
There's some twists that I won't reveal, but a brother and sister are on vacation. The mom dies. The brother fakes losing his passport, so he can't go back home, and he just has a good old time in Mexico.
Really? And you saw that in a theater?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, really. That's just what. No.
But what I was going to say was, you got films like that, which you can take it or leave it.
Please.
And I've seen stuff like I watched Peanut Butter Falcon.
Okay.
What the fuck is that? What?
Peanut Butter Falcon's really good. It's really good. It's a good film. But so like I can see some of those, like that seems interesting, uplifting, that sort of thing. The ones I don't get is where it's just bleak and depressing, and it's like, okay, we're going to sit through 2 hours of this shit and just come out of the theater completely just depressed.
That's what Sundown was.
Yeah, those are the ones that it's like, man, I can watch this. I can be in the right mood to watch this, but I don't necessarily want to pay to watch this. So,
right.
But and then there's stuff like Jojo Rabbit, where it's like, it's not it's a comedy, but it kind of toes that line between comedy and art house film and indie film, and it's got a hook. It's got a good hook, unlike there's room for those type of movies at the theaters. It's the artisan stuff. I don't know how the artisan stuff still gets put in theaters when there's 3 people watching it. For its
I don't know
run.
how they get the distribution. So Podman Ron, you stand by. You should stand by. The theater is dead except for big budget franchises. So.
That's pretty much. That's
probably.
Think about it. I mean, when's the last time you've heard of any movie making like a shitload of money that's not an action movie?
Well, now it's all on streaming, like Coda or whatever on Apple Plus or Roma on Netflix a few years ago, more than a few years.
Yeah, I mean, it's all changed. I mean, definitely all changed.
Yeah. So if you do want to see a depressing movie, it may be in a streaming original or something like that.
I don't watch.
Yeah.
Life is depressing enough.
That's
the last thing you need is a depressing movie.
Well, here's a list of some stuff coming up if you guys want to give some hot takes on it. But
all right, what you got?
We got The Lost City with which is a romantic comedy with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
Oh, it looks pretty good. I saw that.
Kind of looks like Romancing the Stone a little bit. Yeah,
I guess that.
We've talked about Morbius.
Pass.
So
when is that coming out? I thought that was supposed to be out already.
April 1st. It was
supposed to be out a year ago.
April Fool's Day. That's pretty sad.
This looks pretty good. I thought at least Ambulance with Jake Gyllenhaal. And I think it's the guy from Aquaman, the guy that plays Black Mantis.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Or Black Manta.
And who's directing? Is it like Michael Bay or something like that? Is somebody well known?
Maybe.
I forgot. Okay.
But it kind of looks like a mix between Heat and Speed.
Speedy,
right?
Ambulance.
Speedy.
What's it about? An ambulance?
These two military buddies, they decide to, one of them's kid's sick, and the other one talks them into doing planning a bank robbery.
One last job.
I saw the previews to that.
And it goes sideways.
Yeah.
All right. Downton Abbey, The New Era.
Pass.
No, thank you.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Definitely no, thank you.
Sonic 1 was a good film.
For what it was a decent movie, yes. I agree with that.
I'll stand
Take your word.
All right, we got Permission to Dance. The BTS
Jesus Christ.
live on stage in Seoul, Korea.
Oh, pass. Okay.
Hard pass. We've got Top Gun Maverick.
When is that? That was supposed to have been out like 3 years ago. What? I mean,
May 27th.
Oh, okay.
Do anybody really care about that?
No.
I mean,
That was kind of a bad idea to begin with, though.
yeah. I mean, it's literally. I think it was supposed to come out 3 years ago.
It was because there was a screening that we tried to get into. We found out later it was Top Gun. So yeah, it screened in like February of 2020. So
Yeah,
2 years ago. So then we've got Lightyear.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me about Lightyear is people are like, "Oh, well, this is the Buzz Lightyear that the toy was based on," and I'm like, "No, because in the world Andy's in, they weren't going to like extraterrestrial planets with aliens. It's almost kind of like a meta."
A movie that the toy is based off of.
A movie that toys, yeah. So it's like a meta. Hey, this toy line was popular when you were a kid, like Transformers.
Right.
There was a cartoon and this TV show. Now we're going to make a big screen movie of it. So it's almost like we're watching the movie that Andy would be sitting in the theater watching, right? About his childhood property.
I like that.
That makes my head hurt.
But yeah, meta filmmaking.
Sounds depressing.
That's the thing. It's like meta filmmaking, meta storytelling is really just a way of saying, hey, there's more. We're pretending there's more context than there actually is.
Don't worry about it. Just sit
so we got a new Minions movie, The Rise of Gru.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, another Minions movie. We've got Jordan Peele's Nope.
Yep, that's exactly what I said when I heard about it.
Yep, Nope. Let's see. This is this Friday, but Dave Grohl's Studio 666.
I'm sorry, what is this?
It looks humorous.
It's a horror comedy by produced by the lead singer of the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl.
Yeah, okay. I don't think so.
Cable movie.
All right, cable movie.
Yeah, that's
let's
definitely
see.
That's a cable movie with either I'm drunk or I have nothing else to do. Which usually comes
could
at the
be
same
both.
time. Most of the time it's both.
This is this Friday too. Now this is pretty good. Godfather 50-year re-release.
Right.
Peter Martin, you ever watched The Godfather?
I have. I liked it. I liked 1 and I liked 2. I did not like 3, but I think that's
3 sucks.
pretty much what everybody.
That's everybody. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's everybody.
but
Brad,
it's no
you
Goodfellas. So
No
Goodfellas
Goodfellas?
is much better.
No,
I love Goodfellas.
I don't agree with that statement.
You know what's funny is going back and watching Goodfellas, which again I love the movie and everything, but you go back and look at it and you're like, it's a little not necessarily cheesy, but kind of schmaltzy. Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Hey,
All right, sorry. Whoa.
I'm sorry, I'm watching The Sopranos. That's what they do a lot.
There you go. Hey!
Hey! Look at this fucking guy. Hey!
Brad, what's the right age to let? Because you have 2 sons. What's the right age to let them watch The Godfather?
It's been so long since I've seen it. I don't remember. any real bad parts in it. Like, I mean, so my kids, what are they, 12 and 15, I draw the line at more or less nudity and sex scenes. So they've seen, we watched Mr. Nobody, which was a fairly violent movie. It had a lot of blood and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't like heads getting chopped off necessarily. And they've heard their fair share of cuss words, at home as well as in the movie theaters and stuff like that. So that doesn't bother me, unless it's, again, kind of sexual talk type stuff. But like Peacemaker, no, because Peacemaker pushes a lot of buttons there. Even though
what was Peacemaker? There's no boobies and
the first episode.
First episode, yeah. The first butterfly.
He's always talking about he has a threesome with Vigilante and everything. It's hard to explain to a 12-year-old.
They know what that is. They got the internet.
I'm no doubt. But do you want to watch a movie with a threesome with your parents?
All right,
I watched The Sopranos with my mom.
Well, that's different. So I don't know. To answer your question, Brian, I almost think that Godfather would be fine because I don't remember a whole lot of the naughty bits or anything like that in it.
Yeah, it's good. It's fine.
Yeah. I feel like, and Godfather's a great movie. Like both those movies are fantastic. And what's wild about, you can watch The Godfather at a certain age and get a completely different perspective when you watch it later in life.
Interesting.
Because The Godfather's about the relationship, whether it's gangsters or not, it's the relationship between fathers and sons.
Right.
So
what you do is say, kids, this is I'm about to have a talk with you about the birds and the bees, and then just turn it on and let it go.
And leave the room.
Hit play. Oh, you're fucking, there he goes.
He's drifting off again.
Yeah,
well, I mean, so far, Brian, I don't care about any of those movies you've listed. I'm telling you, cinema is dead for me, I think.
Brian, cinema's been dead for you for like 10 years.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, nothing is...
You never want to go anywhere.
No, I've got too much stuff to do at home. Why do I need to go and sit and watch a halfway decent movie?
Now, well, if you want to talk about an art house style movie that I should have never seen with my mother.
Oh.
We were on we'd gone on a family vacation, and I remember we were trying to get in to see one of I think it was the final, a Revenge of the Sith. We couldn't get in. We were at a theater in Gulf Shores, Alabama. We couldn't get in, and my mom's like, well, let's go see this. Unfaithful.
With Richard Gere.
With Richard Gere and Diane Lane.
Hot Diane Lane, yeah.
Which that film, it's her and Oliver Martinez
some
is the guy. Some Spanish guy. And it's like 9.5 weeks. It's like 9.5 weeks, the film. So they're boning through.
That's the whole movie.
80 minutes of this 2-hour film, right? And and so we're sitting there the whole time, and my mom, I'm like, oh my god, and nobody would leave, and we rode together. And I'm like, I'll just go sit in the lobby.
I'm going to go play video games in the lobby, Mom.
Yeah. So, just it reminded me of an uncomfortable experience.
Brian's awkward cinematic experiences. They
A
continue.
new bit.
Hey, it's not awkward until you watch Sons of Anarchy with your mom.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With your 89-year-old mom. That's kind of nutty. So.
Yeah. What, so what about TV? Oh, you know what? I mean, we're all over the fucking place. Apple TV Plus. We started watching Severance, the Ben Stiller produced Adam Scott show. Have anybody watched that? Any interest in that?
I've seen the trailers. I've not watched it though.
It's okay. Again, it's one of these things to where, strangely enough, and maybe I need to get her on. My wife, I fall asleep every time we've watched it, and she loves it. Just like The Foundation or whatever. She loved that, and I kept falling asleep in it. So I'm afraid to watch For All Mankind because I think I'll fall asleep during that too, being an Apple TV.
No, you won't, Brad. No. Nope.
But Severance is pretty good. I still don't fully comprehend where it's going and everything, but it's interesting if I could stay awake for it. Not as good as, and we should wrap it up when the season wraps up. We should talk about Righteous Gemstones. Have you guys been watching that this season?
I have been.
I've not. I haven't started it yet.
I am caught up.
I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it. Again, I will make the only complaint I have with all these shows on these streaming services is they're just too short. I mean, you're enjoying them but they run about 8 to 10 episodes, and that's it. You know,
what else? What more do you need?
I don't know.
He wants a full 22.
I like a full 22, or at least them to come out other than every other 2 years. I mean, Mrs. Maisel is a great show too, and it's been out for. No, that's a good show, but it's been 2 years since it last came out. So,
part of that's the pandemic.
I get that, but even when it's not the pandemic, I mean, you run for about 8 weeks on a show or 8 to 10 episodes, and then you don't see it again for a year or a year and a half. And you like Yellowstone. I really like Yellowstone. Same thing. It's like, okay, that was it. And the Righteous Gemstones, same thing. You know, where you get into it and then it's over with, and you got to wait a year and a half. So after a while, you just you just kind of lose interest after a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've enjoyed the season.
Gemstones is
it's a funny show. I mean,
yeah.
It's a great show. It's a great cast. Absolutely a fantastic cast.
Yeah.
But Danny McBride is funny in anything
he's good.
Is in.
Although I would say he may be one of the least. I like the sister, and of course Baby Billy.
Walton Goggins, man, is fucking awesome.
He fucking kills it. I would like to see him get some sort of Emmy out of this. I mean, I love that character, Baby Billy, and he is so good in it.
Baby Billy. He's good in everything. There's never anything he's ever not been good in.
Well, look at that. Georgia Boy does good.
Justified, man. What are you talking about? That's Boyd Crowder, man.
All right. Still haven't watched it.
You still haven't watched
Justified's fantastic.
Oh, it's just fantastic. Brian, what else? What are you looking at now? We've jumped over to the what you looking at section.
I know.
We didn't go to the memorial. What the fuck, man?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, why don't we kind of go?
I don't know why we're going to the memorial.
You hit it. You queued it up. So in memoriam, we have Sally Kellerman passed away today, as of this recording. Of course, longtime listeners will know her as Hot Lips from the movie MASH, not the TV show MASH.
What do you mean longtime listeners? You mean longtime living people?
Wait, she was in both. She was the movie and the TV show MASH.
Was she?
No, she wasn't. No.
Loretta Swit
was.
You're right.
But I think probably most people know her really as the sexy lit professor from Back to School, Rodney, that had a fling with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yep.
Wasn't she in a Star Trek episode also?
She's been in
some
stuff.
Yeah. She's been in everything, and everything's been in her, but now she's gone.
Oh God.
So, God rest in peace. They called her Hot Lips.
Jesus Christ. Yes. Oh, shit. No way. She was in the episode, the pilot episode with Captain Pike. That's the nerdiest thing I think I've ever said. But
was she a yeoman or something?
No, she was the scientist that goes to that planet with Captain Pike, and she's the one that gets disfigured along with him.
Okay.
So,
oh, wow. How about that?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, she
was not so Hot Lips.
Not so Hot Lips there.
Well, now it's a tragedy. Now it's a tragedy.
Now it's a tragedy. What didn't we have somebody else? Oh, well, yeah, the Amazing Jonathan. Sorry, Brian, burying the fucking lead.
Yeah, the Amazing Jonathan. which, I remember back in the day, it was weird. You had in like the early 90s, lots of comedy TV shows, not sitcoms, but you had like, Showtime at the Apollo. You had, what's Carol Leifer? The Comedy Store.
Yeah, maybe.
They had like their own show that would come on. A lot of this was on like USA Network and stuff like that. Like the second tier or the top tier cable networks, they would do these comedy shows and that sort of thing. Before you had like Russell Simmons, Def Comedy Jam, and it got really, really popular. You had like these offshoots, and he was like a mainstay. Like, Amazing Jonathan always showed up, was on these a lot. Kevin, oh my God.
Describe his act.
What's his last name? He's a Jewish guy. He was in The Usual Suspects.
Yeah,
right?
the guy that does the William Shatner impersonations.
Exactly. Yeah. He would always show up in these.
Right. Yeah.
And say, that was when Carrot Top started showing up and stuff, right? But Amazing Jonathan was like a staple, and what it was he was a magician, and it was kind of like a Penn and Teller sort of act. He would kind of do comedy bits at the same time he was trying to perform magic tricks.
Right.
And kind of break the fourth wall on the way the magic worked. One of the famous ones was he would, he'd have you to hold a cold card or whatever, and he'd have a pitcher full of powder. And he'd go, now we're going to tear this card in half, and then we're going to make it come back together. Now, you hold this card, and I'm going to sprinkle some magic powder on it. And then he'd act like he was snorting the powder, and then he'd take the hose or the straw and snort up the entire pitcher full of powder like it was all cocaine. And like that was one of his most his famous sort of.
He was a little bit of toss in a little Carrot Top in there too, right? He used a lot of props and stuff like that, in addition to magic stuff. I always remember him taking like a crochet needle or something like that, and holding out his arm and sticking it through his forearm.
Through his arm, yeah.
And blood coming out and all that kind of stuff. Then he would take it out and, wipe his arm, wipe the blood off, and no puncture or anything like that. That's why I always remember.
Or he'd have a knife and he'd act like it looked like he was about to saw his entire arm off.
Right.
And then he just wiped the blood away, So, but he would be telling jokes while he was doing the magic tricks. And very popular. I mean, I think it said he had over like 100 television appearances. Yeah. So
you have to have seen him, Podman, right? And he always wore a bandana, right? Mm-hmm. That was kind of his shtick.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of him.
Okay, still no good. All right, well, we tried.
Still no good.
But let me make a correction about Sally Kellerman.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Please.
She was not in the original pilot of Star Trek with Captain Pike. She was in probably one of my favorite episodes. She was in the first episode. She was in the second pilot for Star Trek. She was in William Shatner's first episode called Where No Man Has Gone Before, which is a really good episode. So anyway.
Okay, well, thanks for that correction.
She was in that episode.
Thank God.
All right.
There you go.
Well, so we had a retraction. Back to Amazing Jonathan, who also passed. Amazing Jonathan. God damn it. So this, and I guess we'll just transition into
Might as well. You saw
what I'm looking at. Yeah. So I remember a story was going around about Amazing Jonathan. Like he was going to die. He was going to die. I was like, what was it? And he did just pass in the past day or two. And I was like, well, he's been dying for a long time. What was the deal with that? So I went and started looking it up, and it's a whole like rabbit hole. Like back in so he had done cocaine like his entire adult life. And in 2014, they told him he was in congestive heart failure and he only had a year to live, right? And so he went out and it made the news, that Amazing Jonathan, he's going to die soon. Doctors have given him a year to live. That's 2014. Now he just passed away like 2 days ago in 2022. So But it made the news rounds. He did like interviews about it, all that kind of stuff, because he was very, even though PMR doesn't know who he is.
Some people knew who he was.
A lot of people know who Amazing Jonathan is. So I looked it up, and there was a documentary about it. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll go watch this documentary. And then it got crazy.
Let me ask you this. How old is that documentary? I think I've seen it before. Is it kind of an old...
2019.
Okay, I may have seen that before. Because he videotaped... Eventually, they get mad. The producers get mad at him, and he starts doing his own thing or something like that, right?
Is this the guy that ate all the French fries and stuff at McDonald's?
No, that's Morgan Spurlock.
Yeah, Super Size Me, that guy?
Yeah.
Is this that?
No. That's the only other documentary PMR knows. It's Super Size Me. And
never mind.
And the Punky Brewster documentary.
Yeah. Kid 90. All right, so PMR, please try to pay attention because I think you'll find this interesting, even if you don't know who Amazing Jonathan is. But he's a magician, right? So that's the whole thing is he's a magician, and he announces that he's going to die in 2014. He's got a year to live. Come 2019, this documentary filmmaker decides to make a documentary about him, and so they do some interviews. He's like, yeah, I retired. He was like the longest running comedian or show in Vegas when he retired in 2014. And so he decides he wants to go back on the road. If he dies on stage, who cares? But he's tired of just being in retirement. He wants to go back on the road. So the documentary starts tracking that. Well, about 2 months into this guy filming the documentary, they are showing up for his first show, his first comedy show after he comes out of retirement, and he mentions this other film crew. Amazing Jonathan mentions another film crew, and the documentary, the person that was doing the documentary, his name is Ben. He goes, "What film crew?" And he goes, "Oh, the other documentary." And he's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, oh, yeah. There's another documentary crew following me around, too. They're going to do a documentary on me also about my final days, right? So he's like, well, what the hell? Like, I'm doing this documentary on you. Why would you bring in another documentary team? And he says, well, it's the people behind Man on a Wire.
Okay.
No, Man on a Wire. Which Man on a Wire's the documentary about the guy that walked the tightrope between the two towers, the Twin Towers.
Right.
All right, so
I remember that.
Okay.
So he's like, it's by the people that did the documentary about him. They won like 2 Academy Awards. I'm going to let them do a documentary on me as well.
Right.
And the guy's like, okay, they got these credentials. Maybe I can figure out a way to differentiate my documentary from their documentary, right? So he continues to grab footage, compile stuff, that sort of thing. And a few more months go by, and they're at some sort of event, and he goes, that was what it was. Then he went to Chris Angel's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, which Chris Angel's another magician, PMR. But he went to Chris Angel, got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and Amazing Jonathan went, and he didn't tell the documentary guy. And he's like, man, why didn't you tell me that you were going to do this? This would be great footage for the documentary. And he goes, and now at this point, documentary A is constantly in contact with the other filmmakers for documentary B. And he's like, you didn't tell either of us. Why wouldn't you tell either of us that you were doing this? For either of us, that would have been good footage. And he goes, well, Chad knew. And he's like, well, who's Chad? And he goes, oh, he's the other guy doing a documentary on me. So now we're up to three. God. We're up to 3 people filming a documentary concurrently on Amazing Jonathan, right? So he's like, what the hell? Like, I don't understand what's going on. In the meantime, you get these interstitials, and they started doing interstitials. They've got like Eric Andre doing interviews about Amazing Jonathan. Weird Al's doing interviews about Amazing Jonathan, right? For the documentary. Well, and at one point they start talking about his cocaine use, and he stopped using cocaine because he switched to speed, right? And they even show him break out a pipe and start smoking something, and they blur the pipe, or they black box the pipe, and then they go straight to his wife, and she goes, "Yeah, I didn't know you could smoke speed." And she goes, and then I found out it was meth. So now he's smoking meth in this documentary, and there's 3 documentaries filming about him, right? Continue on. The guy, now the documentary's turned to like this producer. He's like, what the hell am I going to do? I got my whole life tied up in this. And like, there's 2 other documentaries in addition to mine. And so it kind of spins where it's like, it kind of pivots to him, like what he's trying to do to get his film made. Come to find out, he referenced, there's another conversation with Amazing Jonathan, and he mentioned somebody named Nikki. And he's like, well, who's Nikki? And he's like, oh, she's doing a documentary on me. So he has 4 different film crews filming a documentary about him at the same time, right?
Well, were any of them made, or they just?
Well, So this one is because I watched it. Right? So,
who made this one?
So this one's The Amazing Jonathan. It's on Hulu. I'll get you the name of it before I'm done. But so now there's four films or 4 documentaries being made, and the Nikki documentary person, which she won't give her last name, gives him her footage to review. Well, he starts reviewing the footage, and it's all the exact same sound bites. It's all the exact same quotes. It's all the exact same stories. And so it's like, if you tell it, he's a comedian, right? So he tells a joke, it's popular, he tells it again.
Right.
So he's just giving this guy the greatest hits, right? And so then he ghosts him and won't return his call. Come to find out, the documentary B gets released at Vancouver at a film festival. And so he flies to the film festival and asks them point blank, is this the same type of filmmaking you used when you made Man on a Wire? And they're like, oh, we didn't make Man on a Wire. So either they lied to Jonathan or Jonathan lied to him. And so basically he's like, I don't know what to believe. He goes, I don't know if this is all a sham. He goes, it's a magician, right? It's a magician. Is all of this an illusion? Is he actually dying? Because at this point,
right,
it's 2018, right? And so he actually comes to him and he says, hey man, I don't know what's real. And basically Jonathan's like, fuck you, I'm dying. If you don't like it, I don't care. I wanted to make sure a documentary got made. He goes, so anybody that wanted to approach me, I told them yes. So long story short, it comes off. I don't know how he thought this would come out looking favorable to him,
right?
But he looks like a gigantic asshole when it's all said and done.
Well, now he's dead, so fuck him.
So now he's dead. This brings us to now.
Yeah.
And now he's just dead.
Yeah, it's an interesting watch. But the thing that's interesting about it is not Amazing Jonathan's life or him telling his story, because he even says it. He's like, people don't want me to write a book because they want the person to lose everything because they did drugs and then give up drugs and then get everything back. He goes, I never stopped smoking, meth. And I'm as successful as I ever was, and I got tons of money.
Oh, there you go.
So where it gets interesting is when it starts kind of flipping to the actual filmmaker going, what the fuck am I going to do with this?
All right, a little bit of a meta documentary there.
A meta documentary, but
well,
yeah.
Podman Ryan, that sounds like something you would enjoy, and maybe you would learn something.
I don't know. I honestly feel like I missed out on something. I've never heard of this guy before, so it's kind of weird. It's like,
okay, well,
it's like everybody knows who this person is, and I've never heard of him before in my life.
But maybe you could watch the documentary and learn a little bit.
Or go Google some amazing Jonathan bits.
Yeah, like you've been Googling Sally Kellerman. Yeah.
Did y'all see that?
I did see that.
Well, she's old, Podman Ron. What do you expect?
And that photo was taken from before she died.
That was when you said the meth thing, it reminded me of a documentary that I watched recently on HBO Max. I think it's Life in Crime, and it's but it's a good documentary about following these three drug addicts. But there are three parts, and this is the third and final part. But the first one came out in like '84 or something like that, and it's still it keeps up with these people who've been in and out of jail and all that kind of stuff. But it's pretty interesting. It does not end well, I don't think, for any of them. But
speaking of documentaries, have we ever talked about Grizzly Man? And PMR, have you watched Grizzly Man?
You know me well enough to know I have not watched Grizzly Man.
But you know what it's about, correct?
You even know me even better to know that I do not know what Grizzly Man is about.
Brian, you can't. Don't try.
Well, now. All right. So Grizzly Man, I don't know the guy's name. Grizzly Man, I don't know. It may win PMR over. But a Grizzly Man, what's the guy's real name? Basically, this guy, he filmed documentaries, and he would go and live in the northern Canada with grizzly bears right as they were going to start going into hibernation and everything. So he would spend he'd go up in August-ish and stay until October, and when they would start hibernating, and he would have to he'd have to be he was so remote he'd be flown in, right? Well, and he took films, he videotaped his stuff for years. Well, they ended up, 1 year they come to pick him up and he's not there and his camp's destroyed. And they find his video, and he was essentially, one of the bears killed him. And the camera was on when it happened.
That's awesome. Now that I'd like to see.
So
what a jackass.
And so the documentary,
Grizzly Man?
It's called, what's the name of the documentary is Grizzly Man. His name was, let's see.
Because he got ate by a bear? That's why they call him Grizzly Man?
Well, he kind of lived with the bear, so to speak. He was it's like if Grizzly Adams would have been killed
by Ben. Did he really live with the bears?
Yeah.
Or did he annoy the bears?
He may have been.
Well,
difference.
And so, not to spoil
I lived with my mom. Well, never mind. Go ahead.
But he would be up there for, a couple months every year. And he did it for years and years and years. His name was Timothy Treadwell. But anyway, so they used his footage, the footage he shot, including they don't let you listen to it.
But what's the point of the documentary if you can't listen to him get involved?
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's shot from afar or whatever, right? And you don't see anything, Podman Ron.
It's not like
you'll be very disappointed.
Bears holding the camera on it, but
that
would have been good.
Well, here's what they do in lieu. Think about this. Now they could have. I don't think the camera showed anything, but you could hear what happened. I think they even say that.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
The lens may have been on, or there was no light, so you couldn't see anything, but you could hear what was happening because the camera cut on while it was going down. And so they don't show you, and they don't play you the audio. What they do show you is his mother listening to the audio and her reaction, which is kind of worse, right? I mean,
very odd.
But yeah, Grizzly Man. It's and it was produced and directed by Werner Herzog.
Well,
So
I'll have to watch that.
Grizzly Man's good.
I would only like to watch the part where he got mauled. I couldn't bear to watch 2 hours.
no,
of
you
whatever
would hate it
happens
because he's
before.
a hippie and
Yeah.
He-
No. Now that I know he's a hippie, that would even be even more enjoyable that he got
Oh
mauled.
my god! Again, this episode will never see the light of day.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, never mind.
dirty hippies deserve to die.
That's not what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
just it's amusing that, I'm just digging a deeper hole. Never
Yeah,
mind.
don't worry about it. I still say you want a heartbreaking documentary is Dear Zachary. That's the best.
Jesus Christ, what's this documentary stuff we're on?
It was a good
Zachary?
documentary. I love.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good
What is
documentary?
Dear Zachary about? What kind
Well,
of
have you ever watched? Let me ask, have you ever watched King of Kong?
No.
No.
I don't like documentaries.
King of Kong is fantastic.
I like the documentary about Brewster. What's her
Funky
name?
Brewster?
Funky Brewster, and that's it. That's it.
Well, do you-
Well,
all right.
Never mind.
King of Kong. Do you know what it's about?
He won't care,
Yes, the guy
Brian.
who broke the record for
Yeah, so
King
he knows.
Kong.
He knows. He
Donkey
just doesn't
Kong.
care.
Kong, yeah.
He don't care.
It's fascinating.
So what's the deal with the sad Zach?
Sad Zach.
Sad Zach.
It's about a guy that gets killed, but it's that's good murder. It's a fantastically made documentary. I think it's good.
Well, who murdered him? And
I don't even want to give you any kind of spoilers to it, but it's pretty. If you watch that Podman Ron and you smile, then you are a cold-blooded son of a bitch.
Depends on how he died.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if he's eaten by a bear, that shit's
If
funny.
he's eaten by a bear, chances are I'm going to laugh.
And what his political views are.
Right, what his socioeconomic status is. I hated watching that documentary about the fire festival and that poor son of a bitch that lost it all. I mean, that was depressing. What are some other good documentaries that Podman Ron? Meet the Whites, maybe?
What are y'all fucking going on these documentaries?
What about the Apollo 11? What about the Apollo 11 documentary, PMR?
You love moon landings.
No, I've never seen that.
Now we got you.
A documentary about the moon landing entitled "For All Mankind," not based on the TV show.
Now, show me the documentary about we not landing on the moon. Huh? Huh?
There's
There you
probably
go.
one out there for that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm watching two chicks fight on TikTok, so y'all keep talking about your documentaries.
So Brian. I mean, we're just wasting time here.
I know.
This is
Hoop Dreams. Hoop Dreams is a great
y'all
one.
Start your own highbrow documentary podcast.
I don't think we're that highbrow about it, though. Really.
You know.
No, I don't think we are.
Yeah, Hoop Dreams is a great one.
Oh, Hoop Dreams, basketball.
Yeah.
Hoop Dreams?
Hoop.
Yep. Hoop.
Like Hoop Gibson?
Yep. Spellbound, a documentary about a spelling bee.
Ugh, Jesus Christ.
All right, I'm going. We should have. I think this has turned into a all documentary channel. What
All
else
all we
got?
needed is the crickets chirping.
What else we got? That's what I want to know. A lot of them here. I'm looking on HBO Max. What might
Murder Ball's a good one.
What about 6 Days to Air? That's a very short documentary about the making of an episode of South Park. Have you seen that, Podman
I
Ryan?
feel like we're in that Family Guy episode where Peter's naming all the kind of hats there are.
I think that's exactly what we're doing. But no, listen, PMR.
There's a fireman hat, a policeman hat, a ball hat. I feel like that's what we're doing right now.
PMR on HBO Max, documentary 6 Days to Air, the making of South Park. It's 42 minutes long. I think you'll enjoy
I may
that.
watch that.
I think you will enjoy it.
Short. What's that on?
It's on Max, but it's how it's for like soup to nuts, how they have 6 days to create an episode from writing the script
I'd like
and
to
all
watch that.
There
I
you go.
actually would enjoy that. Yeah.
All right.
All right. I will watch it for the
That's
next
a win
podcast.
right there, Brian.
That is.
There you go.
Which brings me to what am I watching, which is South Park. It's been a strong couple of. We're on the third episode. Strong season so far. I stand by South Park. You guys need to watch it.
I have not watched it recently.
Nope, you need to watch it.
All right.
Funny episodes.
What other documentaries?
Get off your highbrow documentaries.
Brian and I are looking up
watch them
documentaries.
Yeah, we are. I'm like, wow, we're actually watching this documentary instead of being on this podcast right now.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
HBO Max also has a documentary about Linda Ronstadt. I mean, I've watched that. It's pretty good. She was hot back in the day. Nothing
Who?
there. Linda Ronstadt.
Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. God.
Anyway, so what do we got? What else we got on the rundown here? I don't think we had much of a rundown.
We don't have anything.
We had no time in the green room. No rundown.
It's because you guys both started so late.
I was trying to finish the Amazing Jonathan documentary.
I was waiting on you guys.
So we had something to talk about.
Wasting your time.
So I've been watching Sopranos. So we can get off this documentary stuff. So I'm 2 years late on the Sopranos.
Yeah, are you enjoying
and
it?
Honestly, I don't see the fascination with the Sopranos whatsoever. It's not very good, to be honest with you. Y'all can.
It's a zeitgeist type thing. It just kind of
nothing happens. I mean, it's just moves so slow. It's so edited choppy. I mean, it's like they show scenes sometimes, and the scenes make no sense. It's like a clip of something, two people talking for like 2 minutes, has nothing to do with the story, and then they go on to something else. It's just weird. It's I don't know. I mean, it was made in the early 2000s, late 90s, so and it's supposed to be edgy TV back then, and
right.
I guess it was, but
I think it probably was back then.
Back then, maybe, but I just find it really, really, really boring. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean,
you're wrong.
Oh, ouch.
Do you think you liked it? You liked it that much? You think it deserves all the accolades it got?
It's a good show. Like it's.
I am on season 4.
Oh.
And nothing really has
Nothing's
happened in the first
yet.
3
That's
seasons
tough.
that I would think, wow, man, that was really, whoa, that blew me away. That was really cool how that happened. Nothing.
What about when they killed Pussy?
They killed him on a boat, and it wasn't even like it was so like, you knew it was about to happen, so it was really like, oh, that's it? I mean,
What
and
about
then his
the time?
wife just accepts that he's dead, and, nothing, we briefly touch on it a little bit here and there afterwards, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I do like the James Gandolfini. I mean, he's really good, but the story just kind of drags a little bit. It's just a little boring. I just don't see the fascination that everybody had with it.
What about the Pine Barrens episode?
Where they're out in the snow, and I think I just watched that the other day, and I mean, it was funny. It was that the guy got away. It was kind of funny, but again, that was like 10 minutes of that whole episode. You give me the other 40 minutes, that dragged the whole time. So
That wasn't 10 minutes. That episode about over like 3/4 of that episode is Paulie and Christopher trying to find the guy in the Pine Barrens.
yeah, well, they were just freezing their ass off. I mean, they chased him. They thought they shot him. He got away, and then they.
But the point, it's the dialogue, it's the bickering back and forth.
You're just saying it's nothing special.
The best thing about The Sopranos is I like how they do bicker back and forth. The whoa, whoa, whoa. When someone cusses, when the kids cuss, whoa, whoa.
And that's what people like about the show is it's not. It's the story. Like
6 seasons of that. I mean, that's good for about 3 episodes, but that's about it.
See, that's that's more of an indictment on you, PMR, than it is on the show.
Right.
Is that you can't pay attention unless something's being shot or blowing up.
Or someone's
Right,
flying. Someone's discovering their powers.
Yeah, having characters that are fleshed out or dialogue that's entertaining to listen to.
Now, wait, hold on, Brian. I mean, Justified, Podman Ron loves Justified. And it's not action-packed every episode, is it?
The Shield was a good show, too, and that was around the same time as Sopranos.
The Sopranos is way better than The Shield.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, bullshit. No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yep.
Oh, this fucking guy.
Hey, what's with this fucking guy?
Hey, what's this fucking guy? Sopranos better than The Shield. What? No.
Sopranos is better than The Shield.
No, The Shield had, you didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. It was like a shock, a surprise. This shit, you think something's going to happen, nothing fucking happens. They just go to the next scene. It's just, oh, God. Bless, it's so boring.
Okay.
So that's my...
That's what you're looking at?
I'm angering a couple of people out there that are listening to this, but...
Well, let me ask you this. Would you be able to watch on Amazon Prime, it's a documentary...
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Called Jasper Mall, about the last...
what?
Jasper Mall. And it's about kind of like the death of the American mall. So it's something you may... Podman, you don't want to watch a documentary about the decline of the mall?
I worked in the decline of the
mall. That's what I'm saying. You should watch this.
Listen, that sounds fascinating to me. I read an article about the malls, and I bet this is in this documentary. During the mortgage crisis, right after the mortgage crisis, right?
Listen to this.
This is the worst podcast.
I love it.
We've lost the 1 or 2 listeners we might have had here.
I found this fascinating. So they said
a bunch of old men talking about documentaries.
the financial crisis of 1991.
Yeah,
no, it was 2008, Brad.
Oh God!
No, but listen,
yes, Brian. I want to hear what Brian is talking about.
So they said this came to pass, right? They said after the mortgage crisis, the next crisis would be around these malls, right? And because a shopping mall, you think it's a huge piece of land,
right?
Huge taxes, right? Back to the county, your state, whatever. They have to run at a 90% occupancy. If they can't maintain 90% occupancy, they can't stay afloat. And so out of 2008 and the slowdown in the mortgage crisis, that sort of thing, and the rise of Amazon and online shopping, that's what it's not just the fact that online shopping came about. It's that malls their margins were so thin that they had no margin of error, right? And lo and behold, fast forward now, what malls are still open open that don't have some sort of call center in them or some sort of like office building component to it, right? Because that's the only way they can stay open. So.
What about the rise and decline of comic book shops? Now that's one I would.
That's a good documentary.
I could star in that.
The rise.
I'm looking at Amazon. There is a documentary called "The Booksellers," a behind-the-scenes look at a New York rare book world. That's almost it.
Nah.
No. Okay.
No. It would.
Did you ever see the Galaxy Quest documentary, Brian? Did we talk about it?
I have not.
Oh, that's on. I'm just looking through Amazon right next to Val, which I know you've reported back on.
Oh, Val's great.
Yeah.
PMR, you'd enjoy Val.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, we talked about it. Oh my God.
Yeah, don't.
It's about Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
No.
My wife recently watched a documentary about Rick James.
I want to see him talk through a tube in his fucking throat.
Do you want to know what it's about, though?
It's about him having like throat cancer, and he's got a
No.
tumor sticking out of his throat.
That's not what it's about.
Brian did like a 30-minute review of it.
I did. I can't believe you didn't.
There you go. Dear Zachary.
Not even that long ago.
Is on Amazon Prime, Podman Ryan.
What is?
Dear Zachary, and the byline is a letter to a son about his father. And so that'll make you cry right there, I'm telling you. You got to watch it.
Can't do sad. Don't be sad. You know I don't do sad.
You're right. Well, this is horribly sad, so. Ooh.
Yeah. Sad Zach.
Oh,
no.
here's one. Here's one, Brian. He can watch this. I know it. Stallone. Frank, that is. The Frank Stallone documentary. Did you watch that?
Man, you're hitting all my sweet spots, Brad. That sounds fantastic, too.
Amazon Prime came out last year. It's a new documentary.
What about the documentary about the Hollywood Boulevard Superman?
Is that on here?
The one they found in a dumpster dead?
Dennis, what's his name?
Yeah.
Last name was Dennis, Sandy, that's Sandy Dennis's son. She was a actress. Super Size Me 2. Podman Ryan.
There we go. I know that documentary.
All right.
Yeah, the tragic real-life story of Hollywood Boulevard Superman.
But who cares? That's the thing.
Well, it's just an interesting slice of life.
How is that interesting? He fucking hung around and in a Superman suit and got pictures taken of him, and then he OD'd in a dumpster. I mean, granted, that sounds a lot more thrilling than my life these days. But
not the funniest way to go, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
And you know what? There's a shitload of wrestling documentaries, Podman Ron, that I know Brian would suggest. Like
that's for Brian.
The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. Again, it's a feel-good human nature story, right?
Beyond the Mat. Also a great wrestling documentary.
Jake the Snake was at the...
It wasn't a dumpster. It was in a donation bin.
Oh, wow.
When I used to do DVD yoga back in the day, a few years back, Jake the Snake was always at the yoga place.
Yeah. Well,
I'm incredibly jealous.
DDP, I think, is in the documentary, if I remember correctly.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah. They filmed
People used to go there just to get autographs from... They'd take the class just to get autographs with DVD or whatever the fuck his name is.
Diamond Dallas Page.
I believe it.
And Jake the Snake, who would be there. He was half crippled half the time, but he'd do it. So
I did watch a documentary about Audubon, James Audubon, from the Audubon Society. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Podman Ryan. I feel like we've let you
like
down.
You just let the listeners down. That's what you let down.
I think we got let down a long time ago.
They just turned it off.
They just turned it
off. I will
All
see
right,
you next week, guys.
maybe not. We need to
next week.
We need to find a way to get Alex back on the podcast. Let's change subjects. We got to really focus on getting Alex back.
Alex is doing, he's working late hours at his little...
He's doing his own thing, but I miss him. I miss having somebody else to draw the ire away from me watching documentaries and stuff like that.
Well, if you'd ever go to a real movie every once in a while,
again, there's nothing worth seeing. It's not worth my time.
Well, we got the Batman coming up. Are you going to see the Batman?
I don't know. I mean, I don't like that he's fully armored and seems to fly at supersonic speed. I don't get it.
Who says he's flying at fucking supersonic speed?
Every trailer I see, he's flying across windows and stuff like that.
He drives a fucking Challenger. I mean, what the fuck? Okay. What's this fucking guy? What?
For somebody that hates the Sopranos, it certainly has made its way into his lexicon.
Yes. Hey, look at this fucking guy. This fucking asshole.
Fucking guy. Why flying past windows? Fuck.
All right. Well, maybe we'll be...
Should we shoot this and put it out as misery?
I think so. It's about time. I mean, Brian, what other docs do you got for us?
Did we learn that we really need a subject to talk about before we...
I don't think. I like this free flowing a little bit. I mean, it's
we
more
free
enjoyable.
flowed.
There's a news story now. There's a petition on change.org to get George Perez awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I saw that. You know what? He deserves the Presidential Medal.
Did you sign the petition?
No, because they wanted money or something.
Fuck them. Greedy bastard.
Fuck that.
Well, I'm just glad
But
that...
you know what? George Perez deserves everything he gets. That man was a nice man.
Oh.
My favorite, all-time favorite artist.
What is that, Brian?
And I will...
They're asking for 5,000 signatures. It's only got 2,627.
Well, y'all need to fucking sign them.
But you're not going to.
How much are a
I
donation?
tried, but they wanted money, and I was like, I ain't doing that. Shit,
You don't have to donate money. It's just complete your signature.
No, you had to do it. Was some bullshit where you had to. You try it. Try signing that.
How much
thing,
money
and
do
then
they want? I mean,
I don't know. It's the fucking the petition thing that you got to sign.
Change.org.
Yeah, you gotta fucking pay something to that jackasses to go through with it. So
he ain't worth it that much.
I didn't feel like getting up and finding the credit card to do it. So
I'll try to buy a $20 comic book about them, but
I hope those books come in, man.
they aren't. It sounds like a. That's going to be hard to get those going. I think if they're just going to sell out immediately.
I'm telling you, man. If he passes, I'm taking a day off. Going to sit in the bar. I'm just going to get shit-faced drunk and sad.
Yeah.
I'll bring my Avengers versus JLA and just
cry.
sit there at
Cry
the
in
bar and cry.
What's your
Yeah.
story?
So here's what it says, right? It says you can make an $8 donation, or you can
I'm
share
fine with
it,
that.
or you didn't know, or you,
Bullshit.
or you can just send it via. You can copy the link. You can send it via text or email or whatever. So I'm going to text you jackasses real quick.
Yeah.
And save myself $8.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to have to send it's just a big
Text it
fucking
to
mess.
Alex.
Alex ain't going to sign it. I can't even barely get him to answer my text back, much less anybody else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Big shout out to George Perez, though, man. The best
Big
artist
shout out.
ever.
Yep.
Best artist ever. And a very nice guy, actually. Very nice guy. And it really sucks that he's going through this.
Hey, he had a good life. He had a good run. He made a lot of impressions on people and inspired a lot of people. When I was a kid and drawing in high school and not paying attention, that's who I was trying to copy, was George Perez. So
Were you a Perez fan? I thought you were more of a Byrne fan.
I like both of them. I mean, Perez had all the
I like them
detail
both
and
too,
everything, but yeah.
Yeah, I like Byrne too, but Perez was he was like the Avengers guy, and I
Perez's
was
Avengers
an
and Titans.
fan,
Yeah, I mean, those were it.
Oh, well, yeah, he started the Titans, and me and Brad, honestly, we were on board the Titans from the word go. I mean, back in the 80s. I mean, we both bought Titans #1 when it was on the rack.
Yep.
So, and, yeah, I mean, George Perez is a fantastic artist. So it really sucks that, no one draws like that anymore. No one draws like him or Byrne. Or Kirby or any of those older guys.
I don't know. Like, what's the guy is not Garcia Lopez or there's some guy that is pretty close to Perez. That's a modern
Phil Jimenez.
Yes.
Yeah.
That he's pretty fucking
good.
close. I mean, he's fantastic.
He's close, but it's still.
Well, Ethan Van Sciver, I mean, he gets pretty detailed in his stuff.
I agree. I agree with you on that. He's good too, but
He's kind of like 1 in 5. This George Perez. George Perez ain't 1 in. He's about 1 in 5. Maybe.
George Perez is fucking awesome.
No, he is.
I'm telling you. I mean, especially when he was at the top of his game back in the early '80s, mid '80s, with the Titan stuff. As much as I love him on Avengers and what he did, the Avengers, those first, 40, 50 issues of Titans that he did back in the early 80s are perfect. I mean, that was some of the best art ever. And best character designs. I mean, he designed all those characters. I mean, for the most part. I mean, he made Robin cool.
Yeah,
How
that's
the fuck
true.
Can you make Robin
short
cool,
pants?
you know?
Yeah, back in the short pants days.
Yeah, back in the short pants days. I mean, he made him a fucking cool character. And so anyway, it kind of sucks that one of my heroes is going to be passing soon, probably.
And they're trying to pinch you for an extra $8.
Bastards.
Well, I, on the other hand, was saying you could get a Funko Pop. That would be better.
Yeah.
I'll make you a Funko Pop of George
Presidential Medal of Honor. or a Funko Pop.
Funko Pop. I mean, come on.
Well, proceeds go to his family or whatever. That'd be fine, right?
I mean, Brad made us Funko Pops for everybody. I don't know, out there in the podcast world. Brad for Christmas made Funko Pops out of all of the Podman guys. I love that. That's awesome. We look fantastic. George Perez would look fantastic in a Funko Pop.
All right. I think you should.
I'm sure he'll get one. I mean,
yeah.
But will he see it? Yeah, exactly.
He don't want to see it.
He may want to say, what? I enjoyed mine.
He ain't seeing much. Wasn't he going blind anyway, right?
Shut the fuck up, Brad. What the fuck are you talking about? Jesus Christ. God.
He wasn't he?
He is, yes. Yes, he was.
Okay. So I'm not lying. I may be cruel. I may be cruel in my approach, but I'm not lying.
I have sketches from George Perez, and then there was about 5-6 years ago where they said George is no longer sketching because of his vision problems. So
yeah, I'm not saying
it's a statement of fact. He's not relishing in it, but he
not
is
happy
correct.
He got mauled by a bear.
There you go.
Oh, that was pretty funny. But back I guess it was like my George Perez story for when I hired him as an artist for me, did a commission for me.
You were his boss.
No, I went to Dragon Con. I'll never forget this. I went to Dragon Con and I asked him. I'm like, he was working the booth, and I said, "Hey, how much would you charge me to draw the big three Avengers? Because I'm an Avengers fan. Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man." And so he was. So he told me $300. I'll do it for $300. He goes, but I'm bogged down. I've got a lot of stuff. I'll have to do it and mail it to you. So I handed him $300. Honest to God, I didn't think I'd ever see $300 again. I thought, that's it. I'm not going to see that money again. And it was like 6 months. I mean, didn't hear from him, nothing. But he gave me his email address. So I hit him up on the I'm like, I don't know.
Hey, listen
I don't know
here.
If you remember me, but I paid you $300 to blah, 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 blah. And he was like, I know. And he goes, I'm working on it and I'll have it out to you.
Who is this?
It was another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month later. I get it in the mail and man, it's a beautiful piece. I mean, it was beyond what I thought he was going to do. I mean, it was awesome. So,
all three.
I wish I would have got more from them over the years, but it is what it is.
You got a little piece of them.
Yeah,
all three were rock hard and pantsless.
Not what I was expecting.
It was more than I could have ever dreamed.
I mean, it was a private commission, so I did get it the way I wanted it. But,
Thor, Captain Iron Man sitting in a dark movie theater watching a rom-com together with their Harry Potter books.
What was the name of it with Jonah Hill and what the fuck?
Yeah, Jonah Hill, Jason Lee, and David Schwimmer
kissing
a fool.
Nothing says 90s more than Jason Lee and David Schwimmer. That is like 90s wrapped up.
Yep. And speaking of wrapping up.
Brian's playing on his phone.
Yeah, he's looking up documentaries. He's going to go watch something.
I am. I'm going to spend all night watching documentaries.
doing
All
his
right.
work.
Well, you spend all night watching documentaries, Brian, and maybe we'll have something better to talk about next time. But until next time.
Are we going to pretend like this one's going to make air?
No, we did.
Save it.
Go ahead.
We're going to save it for the podcast.
I need this petition.